Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Designing Your Impactful Career. I'm Greg Berry, Director of Communications in the Office of Alumni Affairs. Since we're virtual, please excuse issues that may pop up. If you experience problems with your video or audio, click Reconnect to return to the webinar right away. In order to know more about our audience, I'd just like to ask this opening question. Where are you currently in your professional career? Your options are soon to be graduate, entry level, mid-level, senior level, and executive level. I see people already filtering in with poll answers. We're going to leave that poll up for a bit so you can submit your response. A heads up for our live audience, this webinar is being recorded. Once it's been uploaded on our website, we'll send an email to you with a replay link. Today's webinar is part of our partnership with Mission Collaborative. Registration to be part of this year's Alumni Career Design Program is open right now. This 30-day online program is great for alumni wanting more from their career. Through it, you'll get a better understanding of your strengths and skills while discovering the best path forward for you. You can find out more and register at missioncollaborative.com/UAB program. Today, we're excited to welcome our guest from Mission Collaborative, Isabella DeRienzo. I hope I said that right, and I meant to ask. I think I nailed it. And Jessica MacDonald, I know I got that one. Isabel is the Director of Partnerships at Mission Collaborative, where she empowers professionals to design careers that reflect their true values and purpose. Jessica is Director of Career Programs at Workweek and Mission Collaborative. She oversees the team of experts and runs peer-led career design programs so you can take control of your professional career. And taking a look at that poll, and I'm going to go ahead and end it. 2/3 of our audience are mid-level in their career, 22% entry level, 7% senior, and 3% executive level. So before I actually turn things over to Isabel and Jessica, another quick question. What is your primary reason for considering a career change? Are you seeking better work-life balance, have a desire for a higher salary? There's a lack of growth in your current role. You have an interest in a new field or industry, or you're just dissatisfied with your job. Possibly it's something else. If it is something else, go ahead, drop it in the chat. I'll leave that up just for a few moments. And now, welcome Isabel and Jessica. We are so delighted to have you for today's presentation.
Hey, thanks, Greg. It's really nice to be here with all of you this afternoon. I want to say thank you to everybody who is joining today's webinar. We're really thrilled to have you here as we explore the career design process. This is a framework that we use in our fellowship, and it's for designing a career that you truly love and feel fulfilled by. What's really great about this process is it's flexible. It applies to any career stage and works across any industry. So like Greg was saying, a lot of you are mid-senior level in your career. That's really the typical participant in our program is somebody who has reached that point in their career and they're looking for something more from their career. So today, our goal is to introduce you to this approach and show you how it can help you align with your values, strengths, and goals.
So now a little bit of background about Mission Collaborative. We began in 2017 with in-person career change boot camps. But as we all know, the world shifted online in 2019. So we adapted to a virtual 30-day format, allowing us to reach over 10,000 participants from a diverse range of industries and backgrounds. Our career design program has partnered us with more than 60 universities, and we're excited to continue offering this transformative experience to alumni such as yourselves. We're thrilled to be supporting the UAB Alumni with a career design program kicking off on April 26th, where you will have the opportunity to go through this process yourself in depth, but also connect with your peers from UAB. The process we teach is iterative, rooted in design thinking principles and refined through thousands of success stories. And it's about helping you reflect, explore options, and align your career with the impact you want to make. So before we dive in, feel free to use the Q&A feature for questions. And if we don't get to them during the session, feel free to reach out directly. Our emails will be in the chat. And we'll also be shortly dropping a worksheet in that chat as well for you to follow along. It should create a copy and you can go through and fill that out yourselves as we're presenting.
All right, well, Greg gave us wonderful introductions. Quick background, my name is Jessica. I have the privilege of working with a fantastic team here at Mission Collaborative. We have program managers who are just passionate about helping people get fulfillment from their career, coaching people and helping them through their struggles. It's really wonderful to be a part of something where we're providing support to participants at every step of the way. Before working here, I was in higher education myself, and I picked up a Gallup Strengths coaching certification. So I really love helping people uncover their strengths and using them to align their work and find meaningful work. One of the things that I really love about our program is the power of peer learning. In our programs, we're able to bring together people with diverse experiences and perspectives. And when you're brainstorming with a group like that, it allows you to each explore new paths and unlock opportunities that you might not have seen on your own.
And a little bit of background. It's hard to follow the intro that Greg gave, but I'm the Director of Partnerships at Mission Collaborative, and what brought me here was the passion to help people design careers that they truly love and that reflect who they truly are. So I've been through my own career transformation, and in that I've learned that I really love to help people push past those limiting beliefs that they have and help them find work that truly matters to them. And I deeply believe that real success starts with seeking to understand before seeking to be understood. And it's the key to building genuine, meaningful connections. My journey across 5 different countries and 4 US states has taught me a lot about embracing change and building community wherever you go. And something fun I like to throw in there, my top 5 Clifton strengths are futuristic, achiever, connectedness, input, and positivity. So let's get into the good stuff. Talking about why so many people feel stuck in the positions that they're currently in. According to a State of the American Workforce poll, about 2/3 of Americans report feeling disengaged at work. Given how much of our waking lives we spend working, it's critical that our careers energize us and align us with our values and our strengths. When your career reflects your core values and allows you to leverage your strengths, you're more likely to feel fulfilled and motivated. And on the flip side, misalignment, whether it's a conflict with your values or a lack of opportunity to use your strengths, can lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. Our program focuses on helping participants identify what truly matters to them so they can create careers that bring energy and purpose.
Yeah, but making that career change, it can feel really overwhelming, especially when you're asking questions like, what do I want? How can I make a change without having to start over? Do I have to go back to school? Do I need another certification? A lot of us get stuck there and feel unsure of where we should begin. The reality is that most of us were never taught how to navigate these career transitions. That's where the career design process comes in. It's meant to provide structure and clarity and help you take actionable steps towards a meaningful change.
Too often, job seekers fall into one of 3 traps. Number 1, the numbers game, where you're sending out countless applications and hoping for a response, which is exhausting and rarely effective. The second is high-priced career coaching. It's not accessible or practical for most people. And number 3, doing nothing, remaining stuck and unfulfilled. So our program offers a better approach, one that's actionable, iterative, and focused on designing a career aligned with your goals. It's about reflecting on what matters, exploring possibilities, and testing ideas before committing.
So let's explore that career design process. The framework is inspired by design thinking principles from resources like Designing Your Life and Stanford Design School, and it's meant to be adaptable to any stage in your career. It combines design thinking with career coaching best practices, and we're always refining it based on our participants' feedback. There are only 4 steps in this process: reflection, definition, testing, and launch. We're going to walk you through each of these in more detail so you can start applying this process right now. But again, just another note, before we really dive into that, I do encourage you to download the note-taking document that we've linked in the chat. Writing things down really shifts your brain from instinctive and reactive thinking to more thoughtful and strategic reasoning. So by taking those notes, you're really engaging your brain's problem-solving area, which helps bring clarity and encourages critical thinking about what we're covering. So let's start with that first phase, the reflection phase. The first step is really about asking yourself questions like, who am I? What do I care about? What am I good at? Reflection is essential because it helps you understand what makes you unique. And that self-awareness is key to shaping a meaningful career path. When you take the time to reflect and answer those questions, you're less likely to jump into a career that doesn't fit. It's like navigating with a compass. Those reflection pieces point you in the right direction, even if the exact path isn't quite clear yet. In my own journey, reflecting on my experiences allowed me to see how much I value helping people. And for me, that's helping people finding careers. So whether it's been running programs with Mission Collaborative, doing one-to-one coaching, it's this clarity that really helps me focus my work on creating impactful support for others, while still being able to work with complex technology and program development. But we want to hear from you. So we have a quick poll. You will likely only be able to select one option, but feel free to drop all of those that apply in the chat.
Okay, starting to see you come through here. All right. So I'm seeing a lot of 33%. You want your work to align with your core values and passions. Oh, 35, tied with looking for a career that leverages your strengths and skills in a new way. 12%, 15%, hoping to find work that offers more balance between personal and professional life. So, okay, pretty widespread here, but mostly looking to align with core values and passions. It's looking like. Thank you, everyone who hopped in and shared a response. It's really fascinating to see the different priorities that guide your career decisions, whether it's aligning your work with your core values, seeking a role with tangible impact, or finding a better balance between your personal and professional lives. What's important to remember here is that there's no right answer when it comes to career direction. Your priorities might change over time, and that's okay. What you're doing here, reflecting on what matters most to you, is the very first step in designing a fulfilling career. And one of the most powerful things we see in the career design program is that people are often blown away by how many of their peers are facing similar internal struggles. Realizing you're not alone in these thoughts and challenges can be incredibly reassuring and helps create a sense of safety as you explore new paths. So now that we understand why reflection matters, let's focus on 4 key areas to guide you through this phase. So if you've got that worksheet, or if you're more of a notebook, pen and paper kind of person, feel free to jot down your thoughts as we go through each one. Number 1, you want to identify your core values. Your values are your guiding principles. If your career doesn't align with them, it's hard to stay engaged. For example, you might have a well-paying job, but feel completely disconnected if it clashes with what you truly care about. So ask yourself, what values shape who I am and how I work? Does my current job align with those values, or is there a disconnect? Write down any areas of conflict or friction there. The second is your strengths. Your strengths are your natural tendencies, the things you're innately good at, and using them in your work leads to higher performance and motivation. Are you able to leverage your strengths in your current role? Write down how often you use them and whether it energizes or drains you. Next are your skills. Skills are learned abilities developed over time. While they may feel niche, most skills are transferable if framed correctly. Write down any skills you feel are underutilized in your current position. And finally, interests. Interests are the topics or causes that excite you. When your work aligns with your interests, you feel more engaged, just naturally. So, does your current role reflect your interests, or do you feel disconnected? Jot down a few current interests that could be better aligned with your work. So, primarily, this phase lays the foundation for designing a fulfilling career. With that, let's do another quick poll to look at some common skills and how widely applicable they are. You will not, or I think you'll only be able to select one option in the poll again there, but you can drop a couple more answers in there in the chat. So we'll have that go live.
All right, lots of problem solvers here. Lots of people who like building relationships and fostering collaboration. Yeah, heavy on the problem solving and adapting to unexpected changes. Yeah, we're going to leave that going for a minute or so more. But thank you all for sharing your thoughts in the poll. Let's break down how the skills you've mastered in your current past role are incredibly valuable across a wide range of careers. And we'll kind of look at the buckets that we have here in the poll. So problem solving and adapting to challenges. If you're in a role where you've had to think on your feet, troubleshoot issues, or adjust to changing circumstances, you already have a really highly sought after skill. This adaptability is crucial in roles like project management, consulting, operations, or any role requiring quick thinking and process improvement. And it's not isolated to a single industry, right? What about communicating complex ideas clearly? The ability to explain those challenging concepts, whether it's to clients, team members, stakeholders, or even students, is essential in fields like training and development, instructional design, technical writing, and marketing. Clear communication is key to influence and impact in a lot of roles. What about those who were leading and motivating groups? You've been in a role where you've successfully led teams, facilitated meetings, inspired other folks to reach a goal. Leadership is one of your biggest assets, and it translates into roles in management, community outreach, program coordination, really any position that requires strong team guidance. How about those who have been in roles where they're managing time and resources efficiently? You are balancing multiple tasks, meeting deadlines, and allocating resources effectively and strategically. Those are critical in operations management, event planning, high-level administrative roles, and entrepreneurship. Efficiency and organization are going to drive productivity in any industry. What about those who are in roles where they're building relationships and fostering collaboration? If you thrive on working with people, resolving conflicts, or creating strong relationships, this skill is invaluable. You can look for roles in client services, HR, public relations, sales, nonprofit work. All of those are where collaboration and relationship building drive success. One of the biggest things that we tend to see in our program with career changers is not recognizing how adaptable their skills truly are. You might think your experience is limited to one industry, but strengths like problem solving, leadership, and communication are in demand everywhere. The key is learning how to translate them effectively into those new opportunities. So once you've taken the time to do reflection, it's now time to define what you actually want. Where are you in this phase of life? What are your priorities? This step is all about creating a roadmap by identifying career criteria. It could be things like salary, work style, are you hybrid or remote? Mission alignment, how close are you to that positive impact you want to have? Opportunities for growth and learning, opportunities to stretch and learn new skills. What are those priorities for you? We'll walk you through a process where you can prioritize what matters most and then brainstorm potential career paths. This step is about turning that self-awareness into actionable clarity, helping you avoid those misaligned roles and focus on possibilities that truly excite you and align with what you're looking for. Remember though, there isn't just one path to get there. That's why our program emphasizes peer learning. So even if you're not working with us, if you have the ability to go bounce ideas with your coworkers, your friends, your family, you want people who bring diverse experiences and perspectives to help you explore those new options and identify the paths that you may not have considered on your own. Their input can reveal opportunities that align with your goals, even if you didn't see them at first.
So after reflecting on your values, strengths, skills, and interests, we move into phase 2, the definition phase, where you narrow down your options and clarify what matters most. So you start by defining your career criteria, your compensation. What salary do you need? Your hours, full-time, part-time, or are you flexible? Your working style, remote, office, or hybrid. Growth, rapid advancement, or stability. And mission. How important is it to work for an organization aligned with your values? Once you've identified these factors, prioritize them. Write down your top career priorities, whether it's location, salary, work style, compensation, company size, or mission, and rank them. Reflect on your current job. Does it align with your priorities? Are your needs met? Or is there a clear gap? This process helps you determine whether your current role fits your values or if it's time to explore new opportunities, leading to more intentional decisions about your next move. Next, collect career path ideas. You can brainstorm with friends, tap into your network, and explore tools like careerexplorer.com or use AI. In the career design program, we dive deeper into this process, but feel free to explore and try it on your own. But before we dive into the next steps, let's take a moment to address self-limiting beliefs. We have another quick poll for you. So y'all know the drill, and we're looking forward to seeing where everyone falls here. And I'll say that we all experience self-limiting beliefs, and they tend to surface through this career design process. So the key is to recognize them for what they are, beliefs, and not facts, so we can move forward with clarity and confidence. So with that, I'll leave the poll. In a lot of the not being sure if you have the right skills for a new role or industry, the risk of leaving a stable job and not having a strong enough network to make a change. Those are all kind of dancing together in the same percentage ranges here. I'll let those keep coming through here. All righty. And just first of all, I want to say thank you for your honest responses. We know that it can feel very vulnerable to share that kind of thing, so thank you. And I mean, it's common. Many of us struggle with self-limiting beliefs. I'm pretty sure everyone on the face of the planet struggles with that, especially when it comes to making a career change. Whether it's feeling like you don't have the right skills or worrying about taking a risk, these thoughts can hold you back from pursuing something that might be a better fit for you. What's important to recognize is that these beliefs are often just stories we tell ourselves, stories that can be rewritten. And one of the most effective ways to overcome these beliefs is through brainstorming and research. Brainstorming with friends, family, or colleagues who know you well and can provide fresh perspectives and help you see opportunities that you might not have considered. And as I mentioned, there are those tools like careerexplorer.com and AI, and then just leveraging the career design program to help you really dive in and see what that would look like for you.
Yeah, so after you've come up with your ideas, you're excited about some paths that you could potentially go on, time for the next phase of the program. I personally I think it's kind of the secret sauce to planning a good career transition, the research and testing phase. This is where that exploration shifts from being really introspective into actually taking action. It's easy to assume that we know what a job will be like, but without real-world testing, we run the risk of investing all that time and energy following a path that may not be the right fit for us. Most of us aren't taught how to test a career path before committing, but this step is crucial. Instead of jumping straight into job applications or training programs, this phase helps you try before you invest, giving you the chance to assess whether a role excites you or whether you can or even want to develop the skills necessary to be successful. We guide participants to explore potential career paths through several proven strategies, and we provide a structured framework to help you evaluate in this phase. So to explore those potential career paths, we use 3 key strategies. The first is informational interviews. Speaking with professionals in the field gives you insights beyond what's available online. People who are working there are going to give you clear, concrete information on what they do every day and what it's like and the struggles the industry might be facing. The second one is industry events. When you engage in live discussions, it helps you experience the culture, the trends, and the dynamics of the industry. And the last one is test projects. These are probably some of my favorite because it's the most powerful strategy. By doing a small hands-on experiment, say you want to do marketing, you're thinking that might be something that would be a good fit for you and your skills. So you decide to design a mock campaign. You experience the work firsthand and gather feedback. A lot of participants like doing this testing with organizations that they volunteer for because it allows them to have impact on a mission or a cause they're passionate about while also getting that real world feedback on their work. When you're going through the testing phase, it really answers those 2 critical questions. While you're doing the work, does it excite you? Are you having fun doing this? Is it filling your cup? And finally, do I have or can I develop the skills to succeed? When you gather real-world data by testing your options, you really reduce the risk of misaligned career moves, and you build clarity and confidence to move forward. So on that worksheet, if you're following along, if anything has come to mind as a test that you would like to do, it's a good time to kind of jot that down.
So now that you've done your research, tested your options, and feel confident in your choice, it's time to move into the launch phase, where you actively pursue and secure a job in your new field. Here's the thing. Traditional job search methods don't always work, especially for career changers or non-traditional candidates. Applying to tons of jobs and hoping for the best is often ineffective and, frankly, discouraging. Instead, what works is focusing on relationships. Building connections opens doors that job boards can't, often leading to opportunities you won't find listed anywhere else. The first step is making a short list of companies or organizations that genuinely excite you, whether or not they have current job openings. The goal is to avoid a scarcity mindset and think about long-term fulfillment. And it's best to start this process proactively before you're in a rush to find a job. Next is building relationships, which is key. Once you've identified your target organizations, start connecting with people inside of them, whether it's peers, managers, or higher ups. Building these connections will help you stand out and increases your chances of finding the right opportunity. In the launch phase, relationships are everything. That's the theme here. Reaching out to people, to key people, and introduce yourself, saying something like, "Hey, I'm considering a career change and really admire the work your organization is doing. I'd love to explore how I could add value to your team, even if there aren't current openings." The focus is on offering value, not just asking for a job. If you can show how you solve problems and contribute to their goals, you'll stand out as a strong candidate before they even see your resume. While relationships are crucial, resumes and interviews still do play a role. So make sure your resume highlights your impact in previous roles and showcases your transferable skills to stand out, even in automated systems. For interviews, focus on storytelling. Use examples to show how you can make an impact and add value. The goal is to convince the interviewer that you are a right fit and will meaningfully contribute to their team.
Yeah, so thank you guys for learning about the career design process. We're not here to just help people find a job. We're here to teach them how to create a fulfilling career and giving them an opportunity to be a part of a community of career changers who support one another. We've had over 10,000 success stories in our program, and we've seen this framework really transform lives. So we're excited to bring it to UAB. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the career design process or you want more structured guidance, I'd encourage you to check out the program. Like Greg said, it's a 30-day online course, and you work through it with your peers from UAB and have support from our expert program managers who are there to give you individualized feedback and support at every step of the way. With that concludes what we were sharing with you today, but we should be able to answer any questions you guys want to throw in the chat.
And I would love to encourage questions to come into the chat. We already have a few. I'm going to start off with one. Is there a time in your career where it's just too late to even consider a move? I noticed, I go back to that very first poll that we had, and we had people that were at the tail end of their career. So is there ever a time that's, hey, it's just too late?
I don't believe so, but I'm somebody who loves career design and loves pivoting and loves learning. If I speak to our program and our participants, we had folks who were in their late 70s and 80s joining us last spring who were saying, hey, I'm not in a traditional career role, but I want to use my skills, use my strengths, and contribute to a mission that's important to me. I want to figure out how to do that and what's the best way to do that. So I think it's never too late. I think there's always opportunities to pivot and get more fulfillment from the work that you do.
let me flip that question just a little bit as well. Is there ever a time that's too early? And I think I know the answer, and based off of you shaking your head, that's kind of where I was going. But, we did have people that were just about to graduate already.
Yeah. I spent a lot of years in higher education, and I spent a lot of time doing direct student support in undergrad and graduate programs. And I know that feeling of kind of dread that some people have when they get to that last year of their degree, and they maybe realize, the path that I am on right now isn't feeling like exactly what I want. My peers are going to organizations that don't really resonate with me. I'm not sure I want to do this type of work. That's okay. You learned a lot of transferable skills, and you should figure out what is going to fill your cup, what is going to feel right for you, how can you have a positive and impactful career on your terms, right? So I don't think it's too early. I think a lot of people get hung up on, I was with an organization for 6 months, but then I left. How does that look to recruiters? What that really comes down to is that launch part of the process. You tell your story. It's your story. You're bringing in all of the skills, your passions, and being able to tell that story is what's going to form those relationships and have that impact. You're not just a piece of paper.
We have a question. How do you go about sifting through your opportunities that may align with your goals and values, but also give you a salary that is worth the exploration?
Yeah, that's part of what we address pretty intensively. I mean, we cover that in the course because that is a factor, right? Like if you're mid-senior level in your career, there is a salary target that you want to meet. You can't just say, I'm going to go work in nonprofit work if your salary isn't going to align. So we talk through how to do the research, how to find those roles, what to look for. And even some participants just decide fully like, oh, I want to go work for nonprofits. So we do have resources on how to evaluate if the nonprofits you're going to work for are financially stable and are going to give you the stability that you might be looking for. So I'm not saying it's easy, right? I've worked with people who had very lofty salary expectations, and it can be harder to pivot, but sometimes it's a weighing of those different criteria, and salary may not be the full piece of the puzzle that you come into the program thinking about. It may be, oh, I'm working remotely, I don't have to commute, or I'm living in a different area. So there's lots of movement and things that we evaluate.
And I think it's important to know that it's always an option to shift. I'll use myself for an example. I've shifted careers twice since I started out in television. I did collections for a year, but I had a job, and it was easier to look for the next job, this job, when I had that position. So I've constantly transitioned, and now I've been in this position for more than a decade, and I'm very pleased and happy where I am at. So if you're moving into a new career, how do you begin establishing a network? Does it involve cold emails and cold calling? I'm going to drop a link to a recent webinar that we also had about networking as you two answer that question.
Yeah, I can hop in on that. Oh, sorry, Jessica. You can do the job to get the job. So the cold emailing, the calling, really putting yourself out there and building those relationships, because even if you're just reaching out through the curiosity and just wondering, doing the informational interviews to gauge what their experience has been like in that position, how they got there, you can create the genuine connection with this person. And it's human nature to where they'll potentially want to help you in the future with that, or a referral bonus potentially into referring you into the company if they're hiring. So and absolutely, I would watch that webinar from Greg that he just dropped in the chat. But yeah, that's my 2 cents there.
We do have a bunch of different webinars about the career process that people might be interested in, and that's simply alumni.uab.edu/videos. I'll drop that in the chat here in a second. Any advice for someone who has realized it will be impossible to meet their goals?
That's a conversation I would love to have with an individual one-on-one, because I think a lot of times there's those self-limiting beliefs that crop up. I'm not going to hide from the fact that I think when we talk about career design right now and talk about aspirations for a career that really fits you and allows you to have an impact, I think a lot of people are going to look and say, the job market seems kind of scary right now. I'm happy to stay where I'm at and have the stability. And that's okay, but it's not always going to be this way. And part of what we teach is an iterative process. So the very next role you might pursue probably isn't going to be the ideal job and stay the ideal job, because what you want and need ebbs and flows. So you're going to be working towards that ideal, but always staying true to that self-reflection and that criteria of what you want, knowing that it's just going to ebb and flow through the different stages of life. But we're hoping that going through the career design process helps you understand that you always have a way to fall back, redo that evaluation. So yeah, I could argue that somebody might feel situations were impossible, but as a coach, that's something I'd love to dig deeper into with someone, because I don't love when people feel like they're stuck that way and that it's not possible for them.
And keep those questions coming. We have time for answers, and we still have some in the chat. How do you maintain positivity during a career move in a job market where ghosting applicants and underpaying employees is common?
Yeah, I think there's a lot on LinkedIn. It can be a hard place to be in to see all of those posts. We really highlight relationships as being important in the job search process, in the launch process, and getting into your career. Networking, building those relationships with folks. When you come in through a direct connection from somebody, you're not going to experience that ghosting piece. And I think networking can feel scary. It can feel like you're asking somebody to help you when maybe you don't deserve that help in your mind. But most people really enjoy talking about how they landed where they are in their career and sharing their thoughts. And most people want to help other people. That's one of the things I like to see when we have folks in our program, is they start to develop those relationships through working with their teams, their accountability partners, or even just being part of the broader community. They quickly realize, like, there are a lot of people here who are in similar positions, and they've all been really great and supportive and helpful. And that starts to break down some of those mental barriers and blocks we put around reaching out to other folks.
And there's only one more question in the chat. We do have time, so if I see another one pop up, we'll continue. But how do you see work-life balance in your own endeavors?
I think for me, work-life balance it's a priority, but it looks different for a lot of us. So I think some folks are really happy with the kind of concept of I log in and I do work from 9 to 5 and then I log out and I don't think about that. Through my own career journey, I've developed the self-awareness that my brain doesn't work that way. I can't shut things off. And so for me, that balance comes from being in a work environment where I have more flexibility, that if I want to put in a few really long days because I'm on that hyper focus and I'm getting through a big project, I can do that. And then I can flex and have more time at the start of the next week or the end of this week. So I think some of that balance, you figure out what that balance looks like through self-awareness of kind of what your skills are and how your mind operates. I know I get in my own way of like that traditional concept of work-life balance where you have a clear divide. It's just how my brain works. But Isabella, do you have thoughts?
Yeah. For me, my brain kind of, and it's still like a work in progress. Brain is changing constantly and just will continue to change, right? So really leaning into that flexibility in the roles that I'm in, and just even like being in office, I make it a priority where, I'm required to be in office, but I block times on my calendar where I go outside and I walk when I can, weather allowing. Block and very intentionally, I guess, structure my time so that like these are times that I don't think about work. This is when I go, like that saying, just go touch some grass. That's what I do to help strike that work-life balance, especially like with so many notifications all the time, and being a part of Gen Z in that regard. But yeah, I would say that's me.
So how do you develop relationships that result in a creation of roles that do not exist? You touched on it briefly. This person's seen it happen a lot in their organization, but they just don't know how to leverage this kind of power personally.
Isabella, I don't want to tell your story, but I feel like that's like a prime example that we could just give right here.
Yeah. So I guess you're right. This absolutely is applicable. So for me, it was just through that very organic connection out in the wild. I'm in Austin and I had a different position. I was working in sales, and just through a personal connection, met a co-founder of a startup, and we just had a bunch of like meetups to get coffee casually through a genuine, authentic connection. And I knew that I wasn't fully fulfilled in my last role, and I wasn't actively deep in the hunt to find something else. And just naturally, we hit it off. And she slowly but surely was, I guess, introducing me to different people in her organization. And it very much happened naturally. I mean, we met at a Friday night Shabbat at a UT professor's house. And after that, probably 6 months later, I met her co-founder, the CEO of our company. And after that, he was like, hey, like this position just opened. Are you up for it? And just, it felt right. Vetted out the opportunity and stepped into it. And I mean, yeah, it happened very naturally, but I was telling myself, like, you need to wait for the trains to come and cross at the right time. You don't want to jump off the moving train when the time's not right, but really wait for that timing to align so you can step off the train you're currently on and board the next one, so that transition can be as smooth as possible. But yeah, that was my personal experience there.
And it's interesting that you bring that up. It's a lot of times about who you know. We hear that all the time, but that's an instance where it's 100% accurate. I had one of those when I was in TV. First time, fresh out of college, I sent out 90 tapes. Tapes back in the day when we had tapes. Got my first job. Second job, I sent out one tape because I knew people at that location. So it's very interesting that you bring that up, and it's all about the network, and you never know when it's going to come into play. So when it comes to that story that you want people to share, is there one way or a couple nuggets that you can share for people developing that story to kind of promote themselves even better?
I think it all starts with your why and your passion. Like, why are you thinking about moving? What are you excited about? Because I've had numerous conversations throughout my career with folks where, even like Isabella, where we just said, hey, we have to have this person working in our organization. How do we bring them in? Those people who get those types of roles, it's because they're very clear on the skills they bring, their passion and excitement for what your organization is doing, and it just happens. So I think get really clear and don't be embarrassed about your why and what you're looking to do. I think there's a lot of pressure, particularly if you're someone who spends a lot of time on LinkedIn, to curate a perfect persona. But we're all human beings, and we all have unique stories and unique passions and excitement, and it's okay to show that to people. It's okay to be authentically you with people.
Oh, can't hear you, Greg.
Hey, Greg, we can't.
Yeah, every time, once in a while, I do that, put myself on mute. So Isabel, Jessica, thank you so much for for taking the time to be with us this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us. It was really nice to be able to share this process with you all. I'm going to drop my email in the chat, but you can always find me on the Mission Collaborative site or on LinkedIn. If you have additional questions, I am always happy to take the conversation and have that privately. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Likewise over here, dropping all the links in the chat. But thank you all so much for having us.
Awesome. And if our guests are not a member of our LinkedIn page or group, we'd love for you to join us. Just search UAB Alumni Career Network or UAB Alumni. In a moment, we're going to highlight some upcoming webinars. But first, just a reminder about our Alumni Career Design program through Mission Collaborative. If you're looking for the what's next in your career, this program is going to help you come up with a plan. Enroll by April 5th, save $50. There are limited spots available. So sign up now by visiting missioncollaborative.com/UAB program. We'll also have emails promoting this partnership coming out soon. Now, as for those webinars I promised on March 18th, join us for The Science of Social Media, Unlocking Its Power While Understanding Its Challenges with Dr. Parker Woodruff. On March 25th, come back for First Impressions Matter, Build a Resume That Wows with Rita Stewart-Hampton and Tristan Bew from the Collat School of Business Career Center. On March 26th, Dr. Alan Gorman returns for Leading with Heart, the Power of Compassionate Leadership. And on April 3rd, we'll welcome Caroline Baker for The Power of Goal Planning, a step-by-step process to making it happen. You can register for all of these by visiting alumni.uab.edu/events. A reminder, today's webinar was recorded. We'll have it online for you, and live attendees will receive an email with the link. Finally, we just want to hear from you. What did you think about today's presentation? What do you want to see in the future? The QR code on your screen is going to take you to a very brief survey where you can share your thoughts. Once again, thanks so much for joining us. And as always, go Blazers.